You are on the.
You're live.
Good afternoon. We're here for the planning zoning meeting for September 1st. Stephanie, can I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Bradley,
Here.
Commissioner Byers,
Here.
Commissioner Kelly. Here. Commissioner Michelino.
Here.
Absent is Commissioner Tondino. Also present is Samantha Mendez and Stephanie Warren from the Community Development Department. You do have a quorum.
Thank you. Well, we're going to call this meeting to order. Chairman Flack has tendered his resignation, so as vice chair, I guess I'll be running this meeting until you elect somebody else to be the chairman. So anyway, so first item is conflict of interest. Does any of the commissioners have a conflict of interest on anything that's on the agenda? Hearing none, Stephanie, certification, please.
I do certify that the meeting and properties were posted in accordance with Resolution 2020-01 and in compliance with Section 5440 of the Village Municipal Code.
Very good. Do we have an approval of the agenda, please? If not, we'll just go home.
I move to approve the agenda.
Have a motion? Second, Ms. Scarlett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes. Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes for the August 4th and the special meeting of August 13th? We'll take a motion each one or a comment from each one individually. August 4th meeting and comments. Can I have a motion to accept, please?
Motion to accept.
Second. None Bart, motion is second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Two ayes. I'm sorry, I guess it was three. So special meeting August 13th. Does anybody have any comments on those minutes? Hearing none, can I have a motion, please?
Move to approve.
Second.
Move to approve in the second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, so minutes passed. Number 5 on the agenda is our public input. These items are for comments that are not on the agenda. You're limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Do we have anybody online that wants to talk about anything that's not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll go on to the next item, which is our public hearings. Our first one is conditional use approval, case CU 2020-0507, Dakota Montes.
Do you want to swear everybody in?
Oh, yeah, we probably need to do that. So this is a little unusual, but because we can't see half the people that are on the call, but if you're going to speak on any item that's on this, would you please raise your right hand? And you swear to tell the truth under perjury of law?
I do.
Thank you. We had several on mute, so we're not sure if they said I do or not. So did you get the people that were? Stephanie will go to the, oh, I'm sorry, Sam will go ahead and go to the first case, CU 2020-0507.
Okay, Chairman, the first case is a conditional use approval, 2020-0507. Applicant Dakota Montes is requesting conditional use approval to convert an existing building into a mixed use of commercial retail along with short-term rentals within the C3 Midtown Commercial District located at Block L, lots 16 through 20 of the Rosa Springs subdivision. With an address of 2637 Summer Drive in Ruidoso. Dakota, are you on?
Is the applicant online, please?
I'll just give
Hey, Stephanie, can you mute whoever's microphone that is?
I'm trying to locate who it is, but the only ones that are popping up are us.
I think it could only either be Cassandra or Galaxy A50. It looks like those are the only two that are unmuted.
Is that Cassie?
I don't know.
Well, I don't hear
The
the
Galaxy A is.
background.
Hey, are you there? This is Pete Chivoni. I'm under Cassandra right now because I'm in El Paso, but
Oh, okay. All right, thank you, Pete. We're just trying to see if Dakota was on, but we'll run through his case real quick. So, like I mentioned, we have, this building that's existing purely for retail at this point, but they would like to convert it, to have, residential short-term rentals, throughout the top half of that structure, which is 3 stories. I'll stand for any questions y'all may have.
I just have two, Sam. So on the case report zoning, on the very top, it states C2, it is C3. correct? And then I also had a question about the map. It looks like this tract is one block off of, what's that, Center Street? No, that's Cranston.
Yeah,
So from being out there, this building seems to me to go all the way to the street. And I'm just seeing a tract on both your maps, the notification area map and your Arizona map. There's a tract in there. You see what I'm seeing?
yes, I do. So our data comes from the assessor's office and the aerials sometimes don't line up all the way. The building doesn't have structure all the way to the grindstone corner though. There's a little bit of space right there.
Very good. So is there anybody here on the applicant's side that wants to talk about this use? Do we have any P&Z members that have questions specifically for Sam or about this case? Hearing none, I will go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anybody online or in the audience or by video that wishes to speak for or against this case, please? Going. Public hearing is closed. Any other comments based on the public hearing? Anybody have any comments or any questions or anything that they want to state about this case? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
Based upon the foregoing finding of fact per 54-68 and 54-101 of the village code, I move to grant the request for conditional use approval for case CU 2020-0507 with the conditions stated in case report.
Can I have a second?
second.
Second to Ramon. All right, all those in favor? Yeah, Stephanie, would you call roll, please?
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly? Aye. Commissioner Michelina?
Aye.
Commissioner Briley?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a variance approval. Request case PB 2020-0594. Sam, do you want to give it?
The applicant, John Meyer, is requesting approval of variance to encroach 5.3 feet Would y'all please mute?
We hear a lot of background. Thank you.
Okay. So Don Mayer is requesting approval of a variance to encroach 5.3 feet into the required 10 feet side yard setback to construct a 774 square foot attached covered structure and 3.87 feet into the required 10 feet left side yard setback to construct a 480 square foot home as designated by the M1 low density mobile home district at 123 Spruce Drive, lot 13A, block 12 of the Ponderosa Heights subdivision, unit 2. Dawn, are you on?
It looks like he
Oh, he does froze. Okay, so he would.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Can you,
Do you wanna
brief us on
elaborate?
your case?
Yes, I'm not sure what information, my connection is not real good on the South Texas right now. Hurricane, we got bad connections here, so hopefully I won't lose you. That said, I'm trying to, I bought this property over 3 years ago, and at the time it was 3 lots. And the current house is sitting on the block adjacent, setting across 2 of the lots. So I replotted it, and as you can see, it's a very regular lot. What I'm looking for is to put a covered carport for my RV and a house that we can live in. I currently have my mother living in the house that's on the adjacent lot, and her health is not good, and we are needing to spend more time there and to give her space, and with her medical condition, especially with the virus now, we're looking at building a house to live in and be able to keep our motorhome covered at the same time.
Okay, question on all the drawings, we have proposed house. I'm assuming this is an old drawing. So
That's correct.
he's proposing a house and a covered area.
Attached.
Got it.
So he's
Yeah,
gonna,
attached, yes.
you're pulling out the existing structure on the lot, correct, to replace it with the home?
That's already been.
There is no structure on the lots currently.
Okay.
So.
At one time, many years ago, there was a mobile home standing on that property. But that has since been removed prior to my purchase.
So, Sam, I guess I'm asking you, this being an irregular shaped lot line, this is the side that we're talking about, right? This isn't the
Yes.
rear or the back or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's correct, yes.
So the conditions, again, as we ask the questions, variances are based on irregular site conditions, topography. What is the hardship on this request?
Whether you can see in the pictures, there's a tremendous amount of, a good deal of elevation going up to that site, and to go up and turn the corner and put that in there, from a motorhome in there, requires to push that proposed cover area and the house to the south of the lot. In terms of how hardship, you might be able to reduce some things by taking out a bunch of the trees. The back of the property has a tree line, and I think that you can see that on the photos. I think picture 5, if you got the same packet I have, shows a tree line that's basically setting on the utility easement line, which is 15 feet from the property. So, trying to stay away from that, as well as not removing those trees, because I could butt up against them by taking them all out. But, trying to maintain the integrity of the neighborhood by leaving as many trees in place as possible. The current plan would be to only remove one tree, for this project.
Any questions from the commission to the applicant? We'll open this up for public hearing. Is there anybody on the Zoom conference or anything that wishes to say anything for or against this case? Have we heard anything from any notifications from anybody?
No.
Hearing no public input, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. Commissioners, what's your pleasure? Don't be shy.
No question.
If nobody has any questions, can I get a motion to approve, deny, modify?
Based upon the foregoing findings of fact, per 5466 of the village code, I move to grant the requested variance in case PB 2020-0594 with the conditions stated in the case report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Byers,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Michelina,
Aye.
Commissioner Briley.
Aye.
Don, your motion carries and you have been approved.
Very good.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys.
You bet. Item C, variance approval request case PB 2020-0598. Tom and Lisa LaFette. Sam?
Okay, the applicants are requesting approval for variance to encroach 7.89 feet into the required 10 feet side yard setback to build a 66 square foot entry point into their home addition. As designated by the R1 single family residential district located at 226 South Oak Drive, lot 51, lot 20 of Ponderosa Heights subdivision, unit 3. Is the applicant available?
Yes, but he's speaking.
Yes, I'm here. Tom?
Okay, Tom, would you like to further explain your reasoning?
Yeah, if you look at the picture, it's just it's kind of like a mudroom to put into, in the entranceway into the structure. As just to expand it a little bit, a little more room as you walk right into the kitchen. So it'd be kind of like a mudroom that we'd have to put in there. And since it's a small place anyway, that's why we wanted only 707 square feet. We wanted to give a little bit more room for entranceway when you walk in. At the top of the step, you can see it's kind of like just covering that top section in the northeast corner of the structure at the top of the steps.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any commissioners have any questions?
So this looks like there's already a landing at the top of the steps and you just want to enclose basically that.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's gonna just enclose that landing. It's gonna go out a little bit bigger than the landing is right now.
Does the landing already encroach?
No,
The drawings, it looks like it does.
that could be, I'm not sure. I didn't think it did.
Yeah, the surveyor, the site plan that you provided has the open deck and it's 2 foot 11 inches from the side property line according to the drawings that we've been provided. So it is already a non-conforming type of use, correct?
Yes.
Okay, right. Any other questions? We will open it up for public hearing. Is there anybody on the Zoom meeting to speak in favor or against this case, please? Anyone? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, do you have any other questions that you wish to ask? If not, I will entertain a motion. Wait, Sam, have we got any response?
We have not received.
Okay, thank you.
I
Commissioners?
have a question. So when I'm looking at that drawing, it's showing it's already 2'11" from that property line. And then on the table of what's proposed, it says 2'11". So is that side not changing at all from the existing?
Open decks per the code have different setback requirements as opposed to an addition on your home.
Right, but I'm saying, it's saying the proposed is 2'11", but the existing is also 2'11". So, but he said it's not it's changing from this footprint right here, but is that one side not changing?
So what I'm
You get-
understanding is he's going to encourage an additional 2.11 to what's existing. So he'll need total the 7.89 feet into the 10. Is that right, Tom?
Yeah, I believe that is correct, yes.
I'm with you, Scarlett. I'm a little confused as well. But from the pictures, it looks like there is an open deck already. I can't tell where the lot line is from there, but if their drawing is correct, the open deck is 2'11". And the request is for that same amount. So it's, yeah, so it's for a variance of 7.89 feet. Got it.
That's how much he'll be enclosing into the setback.
So, Mr. McHut, am I saying that correct? So, you said that if we were going to extend it out a little bit, is that out toward the side yard? Is that toward the steps? Which is why we're asking the question, because it looks like your deck is 2'11" and from the property line, and your cover will be 2'11" from the property line. But you mentioned that you're going to extend it a little bit, so I guess it's the confusion.
Yeah, I think it's extended down the steps and into the side yard, but
Okay. Commissioners, any other questions? I will entertain a motion.
Based upon the foregoing finding, the fact per 5466 of the village code, I move to grant the requested variance in case PV 2020-0598 with the conditions stated in the case report. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this variance. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Michelina?
Aye.
Commissioner Briley?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Very good.
thank you.
All right, so item D, so variance approval request, case PV 2020-0597, Donald Henningsen, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. It's, Sam, can you give us the details, please?
Yes, this applicant is requesting approval of a variance of 2.5 feet into the required 10-foot rear yard setback to cover an existing deck as designated by the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 117 Black Forest Road, Lot 1, Block 10 of the Black Forest subdivision, amended. I have received one public comment on this, and I'll just go ahead and read it really quick. To whom it may concern, I'm the property owner at 115 Black Forest Road, downhill from Donald Henningsen, 127 Black Forest Road. I'd like to have it noted that a current drainage issue with this property owner has not been resolved, and that by adding a covering to the deck may create a larger drainage problem that can possibly do damage to my property, which is downhill from him. I've attempted to resolve the drainage issue with Mr. Henningsen and was met with resistance. The issue is a 4-inch drain pipe from the gutter of this deck that was aimed directly downhill at my house. It is evident that he is not concerned with anyone around him by the fact that he allows contractors working on his house to park in my driveway without permission. My concern is that I need my voice. If the covering is adding to the deck, then he'll also need to add proper drainage away from the downhill slope towards my house. Thank you. I have owned this house for many years. Until he built here, I've never had issues. Please consider my concerns in your decision of the variance approval, Irma Miller. Do you have to?
No, that's.
Makes sense. So, is the applicant online and wish to present his case, please?
Dawn, you're still needed. Yes,
There we go.
thank you.
Well, all I can say is, Emily is right. She did mention one time that the drainage coming out from my property, at one time was a PVC pipe that, I guess the builders installed, and it was there for many years. I now have a larger drain, and I tried to point it as much as I can away from my property. It's pretty well impossible. And to say that she's never had a problem surprises me a bit, because this site was actually carved out of the side of the mountain. To my west is a cliff that's about my roof height, so it all slopes down toward her house. So if there's more water running into her property now, it must be raining more, is all I can figure out. I have done some mitigation, not to resolve this issue with her, but just for my own property. A large tree to my west was felled about a year and a half ago. They're going to pull it off. I had them leave it up at the top of this ridge and cliff. And then it's filled in on the west side of the tree with rock and sand, dirt, trying to move the water that's coming down from the hill to my west back toward the ditch at Black Forest Road. I've also cleared out behind my house as much as I can drainage, so that water coming off the cliff and off my roof will slope to Black Forest Road and drain that way. As far as preventing any other water running into her area, I don't know how to be done. I mean, I guess an architect and engineer might figure it out. But to get to the south, to where there would be drainage, would be on somebody else's property. So, I guess it would remain an issue.
Okay, thank you for addressing that. Can you give us more details?
sorry?
Thank you for addressing that concern. Would you mind just giving us more details on the application before us, the covered deck?
Yeah, we've owned this home for 21 years. We bought it from the builder in 1999. But I recently retired and we moved up here a year and a half ago. So we have this space on our south deck that's practically unusable because it gets sun all day. And of course, during the winter, we get a lot of snow. And we have two dogs that the more it snows, the more they gotta go back and keep from tracking on my deck, getting ice accumulated or packed down. I shovel that snow. I'm 77 years old, and that's getting harder to do every year. It was just, we're spending, not that because of COVID, but because we're retired, we spend an awful lot of time here. I said, we'd love to be able to utilize that deck more.
Thank you. So I guess my question is to staff, is we have never considered drainage on any of these cases that we've ever had before. Could we, due to, what's the word, public health, safety, welfare, do we need to consider the comments about the drainage?
I don't believe so. I feel like if that is an issue, then we can move forward with code enforcement and go that route and have the building inspectors address it. I don't think it's fair to this case.
Correct.
If I may reiterate too, she did call and I did speak with her and she did say she had that concern before she wrote in. I did explain to her that that was not a process of the planning commission. That was something that would be addressed during the building permit.
Very good. Any questions from the commissioners to the applicant? We are quiet today. Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing for any public comments. Do I have any public comments regarding this case?
This is Annalee. Are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes, I did talk to them and they did tell me that that was a code enforcement thing. And I have sent the same letter to code enforcement. As you can see, there was an attached picture. And that is, I have a suggestion of maybe putting the drainage down his driveway into the Black Forest street side instead of directly at my property. Because of foundation, and if you can see that attached picture, it's a lot more, it's going to be a lot more drainage coming down. So I understand what he's doing, and hopefully the code or the building inspector can address how he might correct that issue down his driveway or something. And I appreciate it that you considered this. Thank you.
So, thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Did I hear somebody chime in? No. Going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, any more questions that you have from the applicant? I guess I have one. Looking at the site plan, and these pictures were taken from Black Forest Road, from down.
Yes, actually standing closer to the side where the letter was received. Because the road was small, I was trying to get the angle. I was closer to the front of her house.
So downhill is toward the road. Am I?
Yes,
understanding
the
that?
road will be,
Yes. here.
Yeah, this is the road, this is, well, it kind of goes like,
And, okay, so
That
her
is-
property is to the right
yeah,
side. from me.
she's down here.
Okay. Got it. Commissioners, anybody else? If I hear none, I will accept a motion to approve, deny, or modify. Was that a motion?
Based upon the foregoing findings of fact for 54-66 of the village code, I move to grant the requested variance in case PB 2020-0597, stated in the case report.
Second. We have a motion in 2 seconds.
Roll call.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Michelina?
Aye.
Commissioner Briley?
Aye.
Don, your motion carries and you are able to get your building permit.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you. E, periodic review of conditional use case CU 2018-0424, which is the periodic review of mobile vending and can't stop smoking. So, Sam, do you have?
Yes, we've invited Pete Schiavone, owner of Can't Stop Smoking, to give us an update on the temporary conditional use of the mobile vending stand, located at 416 Meacham Drive, Lot 9A, Block 2 of the Hamilton Terrace subdivision. Also, the purpose for inviting him is that this fire that destroyed his business was April 30th, 2018, so we're at 2 years now that we haven't seen not even an application for a building permit. And so in my department, I would like to see some progress. Since the fire, we have had ordinances put in place to help us mitigate blight and vacant buildings within the village, and this is definitely falling within that category. I've received complaints for months now pertaining to this slab. So we've invited Pete to give us an update and hopefully explain his next step for progress.
Very good. Applicant, Pete, are you online?
Yes.
Hello?
Okay, there I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so update. Of course, since March, we've been kind of in survival mode. We've got 3 other businesses, retail businesses, restaurant businesses, that we're kind of wading through all this process. So it's kind of slowed us down on that project for sure. But my whole purpose for keeping the foundation there was obviously to rebuild, which would save me considerably on the rebuild, probably to the tune of $150,000 or so. Because the foundation is sound, I've had it engineered and checked out, and so that's the reason for leaving it like that. I've got several things in the mill right now, all the way from working with New Mexico SPDC, which I have a meeting with on Thursday, for some assistance in the form of grants. And also I'm talking to a couple of other investors that would like to do a build to suit for me or for Can't Stop Smoking to rebuild on that existing foundation with a lease attached. Obviously I own the property, so that can all be worked out. We just finalized our insurance in May, our insurance claim, which I know that sounds like a stretch. I thought it was a stretch too. So there's been a lot behind the scenes that's been going on, but our intentions intentions are to rebuild. If that, I don't have a timeline. We've got a kind of a design model in mind. Once we get through, we've got a restaurant in Alamogordo that we're operating. We can't stop smoking. And of course, my interest in the food vending was we have so many people coming down the mountain to do business with us, which is great. We have a lot of following in Clayton County, and we're still doing events up there out of the Alamogordo store. And some caterings, and we just did a sheriff's meeting last month up there. They requested us, but anyway, we've got a lot going on. Time-wise, I can't really give you a time. Got a lot of things in the mill. Our intentions are to rebuild. I've been trying to keep it as clean an area as possible up there, weeds, etc., and keep it maintained. So that's kind of where we're at. We've been in business up there a lot of years. But we had a lot of restructuring to do after that fire, I'm being honest, so that's been a lot of work that we've done on our end.
Thank you. So what we're hearing today is an update or a continuation of your mobile vending. Can you speak to that, please?
Yeah, that's not a huge concern of mine right now. Actually, I just kind of mentioned it to Samantha when we were on the phone to start this meeting. I thought, well, maybe we just had so much request to get up there and open back up, even with our mobile unit from the county up there. And I thought, well, maybe we could open up, on holiday weekends or busier weekends, that kind of thing.
Not a huge deal. I mean,
Yeah, sure, it's income for us, and that's what we're all about, is trying to keep raising capital to move forward. So I can understand. I understand the rules of the village. I understand having a restaurant has to be attached with the mobile vending, that kind of thing. They were able to do, for a long time, they allowed us to do it through the Alamogordo store, which was great. That helped us qualify on our business interruption insurance, which was really important to us. So, but I can understand, I understand that the rules state that that's not something that's doable, but I don't have a problem with that.
Well, that's what we're here to determine. So
Yeah.
I will let the commissioners ask you questions before we open it up to a public hearing. Yeah. Commissioners? Sam, did you have one more comment?
Yes, we have one written comment. As the owner of the property next to Can't Stop Smoking, the following comments are made to address the real and ongoing problems next door to us. The property is and has been an eyesore and unsafe since early 2018 when it burned down 2.5 years ago. The second, each day we leave our residents, we have to look at the problem and then suddenly burned out substructure next door and the burned out fence and scrubs on our property. 3, when their property burned, it also burned down my fence and landscaping scrubs and would like to be replaced by Can't Stop Smoking as soon as possible. Thank you for your help in getting this property next to us cleaned up or rebuilt and having our property returned to the shape it was before Can't Stop Smoking burned our property down. Ralph and Pam Rush.
Commissioners, any questions? I will, is this a public hearing? Yes. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this to public hearing. If anybody online is willing to speak on behalf or against this, speak now.
Is that me also?
Sure.
Yeah, well, and I understand. I mean, I assumed that we were getting some complaints. That's probably why the continual update. Like I say, we've got I don't know what exactly they would like me to do next door. Like I said, I've been trying to maintain the property as best we can while we're in this interim period, but, yeah, sure, there was probably some damage, to the foliage and that kind of thing along the property line, which we, cleaned up as best we could. So, again, we're just trying to get through the process here, and we do need some more time because we've got a lot going on right now. And like I said, the foundation has a lot of value to me to rebuild, or I would have just scraped the property clean and been done with it. So, the value there is considerable, $150,000 to $200,000. The water taps there, the gas, the sewer, the power. And so that's the reason for leaving it alone for a minute till we get some things in line for the rebuild.
Okay, thank you. Any other public hearing? Public comments? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. So I guess I do have a couple questions for, Sam and the applicant. So what we're hearing today is just an extension for the mobile vending. This has nothing to do with extending his time to build or anything. We're just talking about the mobile vending on this one.
The permit that he was issued, the temporary permit is just for the mobile vending, the conditional use of that. However, we're hoping to get an update as far as the rebuild, because we haven't seen any kind of building permits or anything.
So if we approve or deny this, he still has a different direction to take for the construction of this building,
Yes,
whether or not this is approved or not tonight.
correct.
But let me ask you a question, Samantha. If we deny this, it says here he has to start within 30 days to permit this for the new build.
That will be whether you will include that in your motion or not. That will be something that will be moving forward on an administrative level.
So denying the food operation, I can understand that. Like I said, I fully understand that. Whether it ties to what we're doing with the property and building, I don't think it should have any merit there.
Well, I'm not speaking on behalf of the staff here, but it sounds like their recommendation is to try and get some resolve to where the construction is. And that's what they're asking us to include some teeth to get you to get going on this building permit and doing whatever needs to be done. And so I can see the frustration for the last 2.5 years of, especially you having to deal with insurances and such like that. So it's all around frustration, and I understand what the staff is trying to say is we need something going. We're not.
And I'm totally with you on that. And my intention is more to do something positive than to do something negative. Something negative would be to take the rest of the structure down and probably never rebuild. Something positive would be to have some more time. Like I said, I just got done with the settlement in May, and then we're right in the middle of all this thing going on here. So yeah, have I had some other obligations? Absolutely. Even the people that I've been talking to on the build to suit have said, hey, let's hold off for a little bit and wait until everything calms down, slows down for everybody. So, commercial construction is not a small task. So there's quite a bit involved in it.
Chairman.
And we've just gotten to the point where we can start looking at making some decisions. Hopefully we can get through this. Like I said, I've got other businesses that are in survival mode right now. So, that's kind of where we're at.
Thank you.
Chairman Riley, we have Code Enforcement Officer Bobby Simpson that would like to speak.
Mr. Simpson, you're on the clock.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Just for a point of clarification, maybe I can help clarify some of the confusion between the requirement to build and this variance, which is the mobile vending. There was a point that was taken whenever this was granted that there was an agreement to start rebuilding as something associated with granting the ability to use the mobile vending stand on the property. I believe that's why that's been placed in the recommendation from staff, that there was an agreement made to rebuild whenever we granted the use of the mobile vending stand.
Thank you.
Yeah, I understand that, and also, the things changed, that was early on in our insurance, negotiation, and who knew it was gonna take that long? I sure didn't know it was gonna take that long. So, but it did. And now we're done. Now we can move forward. So, yeah, it would have been great to rebuild quick, but the insurance didn't allow us to be able to do that. Between the banks, some banking issues and some insurance issues, it just didn't allow it to happen quick. Now we can kind of regroup and see where we're at. And of course, again, we're in the middle of all this. My concentration hasn't been on that. It's been on a business in Utah that I have, a business in Texas that I have, and a business in Alamogordo that I have.
Understand.
Yeah.
Commissioners, any more comments?
What are the chances of? Go ahead. Go ahead, Scarlett.
So if it sounds like the trailer is not needed, and I don't think it's being used, so I don't see the purpose in continuing that conditional use, but at the same time, I want to be understanding of the circumstances for him and for everyone right now. And so what are our options in that regard?
Well, as Sam mentioned, that is just a recommendation that staff would like to see. We do not have to, we can deny or we can approve or we can make any this, and again, because it's a conditional use, right? It's conditional use, which means we as the Planning and Zoning Commission gets to determine what that condition is. And so it's a little bit different than variances, that it's just a matter of fact, but this is we can put conditions on. Bart?
I was just wondering what the chances of getting the fence and landscaping of the neighbors replaced, and since it has been 2.5 years and insurance has been settled, I mean, that's pretty minor cost, and it would be show some good faith towards the neighbors. And
Pete, did you hear?
Yeah. Yeah, and, I haven't talked to Ralph. I know Ralph, he hasn't contacted me in any way like that or for any reason, but, we did have he had a small, wooden fence up there at one time. It was just a partial fence, and then he had some shrubbery along there. And the crazy thing about insurance is they don't cover the neighbor's stuff, It's weird. I thought they should have, but they didn't. So I don't know if, I don't know where we stand on that. Like I said, I've been trying to keep it as cleaned up as possible there. I could probably put up some, some chain link or something. I don't know what he wants me to do. I guess some communication would be in order on that.
Commissioner Byers, I agree that this is more of a civil matter as opposed to a village concern. What we would like is that blighted property to get cleaned up. Since the mobile vending isn't being used, I think it's time to terminate the temporary, in my opinion, but, whatever y'all's pleasure is.
So if we still have code enforcement, and maybe saying you can explain the blight, explain the rules and regulations that we have set forth that, I guess, requires him to clean up or straighten up or whatever he needs to do.
Bobby, do you want to give your?
Without the use that we have right now, what we'll do is we'll address and do some education that we'll address as far as our blighted portion ordinance, and we'll work with the property owner to get that into compliance.
So as it stands now, you have not had to do this because we have temporary conditions on that. Is that correct?
As of right now, it has not been addressed based on the fact that we have the temporary conditions with the agreement to rebuild. If that goes away, then what we'll start doing is moving forward with our blight ordinance. Like I said, we'll educate, we'll come to some agreements on what needs to happen on the property and go from there.
Very good. Commissioners, any more questions?
Mr. Schiavone, what to you is a reasonable amount of time to get started on the rebuilding?
I think probably we need another 6 months. We need to look at it in 6 months and see where we're progressing. And if we're not, if it doesn't look like we're going that direction, which I think would probably be I think we'll know a lot more by then. We just have, and I've got a lot of things in play. Like I said, I've got a meeting with the SPDC in Alamogordo on this very subject on Thursday with the governor's office. So I've got a lot of things in the mill on my end. But it's not going to happen immediately. I mean, I'm not in a position to make it happen immediately. But my desire is to rebuild. And I'm a job creator, always have been. So I have employees that have been with me for 10 years that have still, that I have one employee that's commuting from Capitan to Alamogordo every day to work for me down there. So, my desire is to rebuild and get some jobs going again and get things back up and going. If I hit a hitch there and I have something that slows me down, I'll definitely let you know. But I think we need at least 6 months to revisit to see where we're going. But like I say, there's a lot of investment there. I know it looks kind of like a pile of junk to the neighbor, but to me, it's a lot of dollars and cents. So that's kind of where I'm at.
If we deny this, again, this is for the mobile vending. If we deny this without conditions, are you still planning to, within 6 months, start building? I mean, I guess I'm not understanding the connection between the mobile vendor and your building permits.
Well, I think the mobile vending is just confusing it because that's not my priority right now. My priority is working on the rebuild. So the mobile vending was put in place for us to keep some cash flow going, keep some people employed, and it did what it needed to do for the time period. Well, we're kind of over that now. So we're constantly on the Alamogordo store for a lot of reasons, for various reasons that we're kind of under some strict conditions with the state on dining, so dining, blah, 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 it goes on and on. So yeah.
Okay, so you need to understand our point that 6 months ago, we heard this and we kind of heard the same thing. And so,
6 months ago, we were in a different world. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but 6 months ago, as a business person, I was in a whole different world.
Understand, understood. All right, so have we had enough discussion? Do the commissioners know what they would like to do? Can I, at least, maybe talk about a motion?
Well, can we give some sort of time frame as to when he needs to start permitting this, or we just gonna leave it open?
You can make a recommendation.
You can make a recommendation, and as you see in the recommended, motion, there is a condition to get going on this within 30 days.
30 days.
And so we can put any amount of days, or we can put 0 days, or we can, again, it's conditional use, we set conditions.
So, given the current state of affairs right now, why don't we put 6 months? We'll leave the motion as is, and we give it 6 months to obtain the building permits.
So you're thinking of denying this mobile vending, however, putting a restriction that within 6 months they got to get started on building.
Yeah, we would have the same motion. We would deny the conditional use, and then we would give him 6 months to permit the project.
So would a condition, I know you put that in the recommendation, would a condition on a denial still hold?
It wouldn't really be a condition, it would just, make a recommendation, to staff to allow 6 months for permitting.
It's kind of two separate issues, really.
Right.
Again, can I get a building permit started in 6 months? I probably doubt it. That's a lot of process. So a lot of things have to come into play. 6 months in my world goes real fast.
And if y'all
But,
like to address it, you can leave that off.
Okay.
I'm okay with the denial of the conditional use. I'm fine with that. I understand the rules and I understand why that can't be extended. I get all that.
So if we put,
The thing that
if we put nothing in there, we just deny, is that going to deter you from coming back at any point to do your building permit? If we don't put a time frame on it, does that mean you're just going to drag your feet?
No, I'm not that guy. If I see that I can't put something together, either with another form of investment that I'm working on, then I'll probably continue the demo, get rid of the foundation, and put the property up for sale. I mean, that is if I'm having to push for a deadline. Right now, I don't think I can say that it'll probably happen, but if I'm, if we can have some more time, I mean, that's been kind of a special situation. It's not, there's some properties in town, I'm not pointing fingers, but there's some condemned properties in town, one being the one across from the state bank, the BBVA. There's a condemned restaurant that's been sitting there for 15 years. And, I feel like I'm probably in the same, I'm not going to be around, I'm not going to be, but in comparison, I don't think I'm being unreasonable here.
What's the pleasure of the commission?
Based upon the foregoing finding, the fact for 54-68 and in accordance with 54-150 of the village code, I move to deny the continuance of the conditional use approval case CU 2018-2424, over 24.
Everybody understand the motion? You got a second?
Yeah.
Start, second. Public hearing, need a roll call, please.
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner McElina?
Aye.
Commissioner Briley?
Aye.
Conditional use has been revoked.
Pete, good luck in getting everything settled and getting done with this COVID stuff. We're looking forward to seeing the building go back up.
Okay, I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
All right, next item, variance approval request case PB 2020-0602. Michael Davis is looking for an encroachment variance. Sam?
So the applicant would like to encroach 19 feet into the required 20-foot corner lot side yard setbacks located at 100 Lost Mountain Court, Lot 10, Block 1 of the Lost Mountain Estate subdivision. Keep in mind throughout this that this is a corner lot, so the line of sight will be.
So you have two sides.
Yeah. So the applicant is online. Mike, are you available?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead if you want to present what we had talked about with the roof line and things of that nature.
Okay, so there's an existing driveway where we're proposing to build the garage. And there's a huge elevation change between the crown of the road, Chelsea, and where our driveway is. And being a corner lot, as you come down there, the Lost Mountain Court, our road, is very steep. So you come off Chelsea and you come way down, and it's very tough for us to navigate into our driveway. But we moved here permanently, and so we were in the process of filing an application, building permit to remove the railroad ties and put in a concrete retaining wall. And then I talked to the surveyor down at Ruidoso Surveying, and I told him we were also planning the garage, and he suggested we do it all at once. So basically where the garage is gonna sit is way below the street where you have to have a line of sight. And then the suggestion was made, originally I drew the garage up to where it had a hip roof to match that. And the suggestion was made to make it a hip roof, which brings that grade of the roof down to approximately probably 4 to 5 feet from the top of the retaining wall. And so really we're only coming up another 4 or 5 feet from the top of that retaining wall. And the lot itself is extremely steep, so we have nowhere else on this lot to build a garage at all.
Would you all like to see this on the board? Would that help?
That doesn't.
I'm okay with that.
It's not now. They've never driven that. It just stays flat.
So share screen.
It's not very dimensional.
Yeah.
Well, I think this picture on page 5, doesn't that kind of tell
Yeah.
story?
That's why I had
Yeah,
to
the
go
trees
take
are
that
taller.
picture.
As far as the line of sight,
Yes.
yeah, and I took another one. Did you guys get a copy of that? Because I measured the 30 feet down each edge of roadway. And then I actually measured off that point 30 feet down the road. And this is kind of an odd intersection anyway, because where Lost Mountain Court comes up to meet Chelsea, to the right is actually your tougher point of vision because it's going uphill. So you have to come up to the edge of that intersection just to see to the right. So to see to the right, if you get to that point, you can see all the way down to the left.
No.
Where, oh, you got to go backwards.
I'm gonna get it.
Mr. Davis, we're pulling it up on Google Earth.
Okay,
If you just stand by a second.
okay.
Oops. Oh, I'm going.
So you're going toward the cul-de-sac.
Yep.
That's the end of Lost Mountain.
It's not going.
That's your house, right?
No.
No, you're on Chelsea now. You need to go behind you if you can. Yeah, now you're going in Oak Grove.
Okay.
Wait, I'm
Yeah,
getting
you're
house
out.
too far away. So he's gonna be push up? No, I'm not push up. There's Chelsea.
So ours is the red roof one there. Okay, so that's the neighbor across the street, but you need to go behind you, yeah. That's our house.
This,
What, no.
Yes.
So, is it really a corner lot or is it just a curve?
This is a really old picture. This was done in 2007. It's a fully bought out. It's two roads.
But it's not a 90-degree turn. No.
Well, because it's, what do you mean, 900?
So
It doesn't, if it was 90, it goes straight.
No, it does, because the stop sign is right here. And so you can go this way, and then Chelsea comes this way. So you turn down from Chelsea, this is all Chelsea. So he's got one, it comes all the way, and it keeps going, and going.
but these trees
So that's,
are technically right away.
so is Lost Mountain Court a dead end?
Yes,
So the majority of the traffic is on Chelsea. How many houses live back up on the court? I'm thinking of traffic and dangerous turning motions and requiring a TIA and all that kind of stuff.
Can we see the straight aerial?
There are 9 houses, 9 lots on that road.
Okay, thank you.
I'm surprised if on a
And
Google
it's the
Earth
red
one,
roof
it
one
doesn't.
up there?
Yes, this is it. And all of those trees are right away.
I don't know if you can see or not, but when we pull up to the intersection, including our neighbors, because we've all talked about this, the harder vantage point to get a safe view of is to the right, because Chelsea goes uphill. And so when you pull up, I know that's, maybe you can't see it all, but when you're in the car, that's your view to the left, where you pull up to the intersection and you look to the left to see if it's clear. And you have to get up to that point just so you can look to the right to make sure it's clear. So the garage itself wouldn't come anywhere close to infringing on the line of sight.
It looks to me like the trees are way more of an issue than a garage would be. Right?
That's what I see.
Yeah, I appreciate the way you restructured the roof line.
So when you come home, coming off of Chelsea, you you have to kind of switch back, or do you back into your driveway?
Well, it's real tough to get in, which is why we're redoing the retaining walls, and we're gonna asphalt the driveway. And so by doing that, we're hoping to blend that slope from Lost Mountain Court in such a way that we can carry a more manageable slope to pull into our driveway. But that's just gonna affect, I mean, we're basically rebuilding the retaining walls, taking out the old railroad ties and putting in a concrete one. And the right-hand side of the driveway with what we're looking at is where we're wanting to kind of put a flare to where we can actually navigate our driveway.
In the right way, got it.
Yes.
Right. All right. Commissioners, any questions of the applicant? If not, I'll open it to public hearing and we can ask them later. Is that okay? So let's open the public hearing. Do we have anybody that wants to speak on behalf or against this proposal?
I have one comment from a neighbor within 200 feet. Their property owners at 106 Lost Mountain Court, and they state they have no objection to the request for a variance.
Yeah.
And recommend the village of Verdoso to issue the variance.
Okay. No public hearings, we'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, any more questions? Anything that you have questions of the applicant?
Yeah, Michael, the picture I'm looking at is a pickup truck next to the house. How far over will the garage go?
It's just gonna go up to where the driveway is now. It's just gonna fill the end of the driveway space. And I say that, we're redoing that retaining wall, and I think you each have a couple documents of a plat. And the plat on the Exhibit A, that existing retaining wall runs straight, and then you see there's like another curved area where it says 23 feet 4. That's the property pin. And so when we put in the garage, we are going to straighten that retaining wall out so we have a straight shot into the garage. But the garage space itself will sit right where that truck is in a second space.
So, did I close the public hearing?
Yes.
So, look for corner lots. What are the requirements for setback and dual setbacks? I guess my
20 feet.
on each side. And so when you're on a radius like this, where do you measure the 20 feet from for, I guess, the front of this garage? We don't have a problem with that distance as well, do we?
No, are you talking about the front, where he pulls in from?
I'm talking about this distance right here.
Yeah, no, that was appropriate. It's just the east.
So these are probably some of the better drawings that we've had for variance requests. However, I really am a little uncomfortable with giving a 1 foot, just a 1 foot setback. But you never know what the future brings with improvements to Chelsea or anything like that. So, commissioners?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Can I comment on that just briefly?
Yes.
Okay, sorry to interrupt, but basically where that retaining wall is, we're wanting to build within that anyway, I mean, that space. And there's still, from where the retaining wall is and where we rebuild it, there's still 13 feet from there to the edge of pavement.
Right.
So we're not within 1 foot of the road, there's still about 13 feet or more. And there's a huge grade difference. There's at least a 45-degree grade between the road and that retaining wall.
Yes, sir. Commissioners? Comments, questions, motions? Well, if nobody's gonna have a motion, I'll just keep asking questions. So, so you put into the case report about clear sight triangles. Is there a concern about clear sight triangle on this that would deter us from the actual variance, not the driveway? So there are two different issues, correct?
Right, there's already an issue that Scarlett mentioned, the trees there are, the most enduring line of sight. I don't believe that, his new design with the lower elevation of the roof there, would hinder the line of sight. But per the ordinance, that's what my recommendation is.
Okay.
And I did conduct a site visit and, I couldn't see any other suitable areas on his lot for a garage.
Commissioners, motion to accept, deny, modify?
Based upon the foregoing findings of fact, per 54-66 of the village code, I move to approve the requested variance of case PB 2020-0602 with conditions stated in the case report.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve this. So I guess I'll have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner McElina?
Aye.
Commissioner Briley?
I don't feel comfortable with, I'll vote on.
Okay, that is 3, 4, 1 against, the motion does carry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
All right. I lost my notes. Okay, that's it for our public hearings. So community development report.
Real quick, we have, had, some substantial improvement at 2511 Southern, formerly known as Rendezvous Spa in, the Midtown District. We had pursued them with our clean and lean ordinance, and I think it persuaded them to change hands of property owners, and the new potential buyer has cleaned up the yard, such as weeding, take down existing signage, removed out the storage of outdoor goods, and the last item they need to comply with is the vacant building standards, in which code enforcement is going to continue to work with them on that property. So we're continuing to make progress with our blight ordinance, and we're just gonna keep pushing forward to try and get compliance with some of these really unsightly commercial buildings, as well as residential, but our Midtown District definitely is a priority for us. The Metropolitan Redevelopment Plan that we have Site Southwest working on is in the draft stages, and they'll be presenting a boundary district to the steering committee as well as the planning commission in the next, in October meeting. We do currently have 2 vacancies on our board. As mentioned, Mark Fleck has stepped down, so if you all have any recommendations of potential board members, please let us know, and we'd be glad to reach out to them.
We have to have election of the chair, vice chair.
Yeah, that'll be next meeting.
And yes, at our next meeting, we'll put that on the agenda for our elections. And I have heard back from Chelsea after they've done their due diligence and had their civil engineer out on the Green Manor site. It doesn't look like a feasible option at this time, so they'll be coming to the council for an update, in the coming weeks. They're just putting together a plan. So,
Remind us, what did we do? We denied that, correct?
the rezone.
And so are they, appealing to the council?
No, they
It's just
won't
an
be
update.
appealing. Mm-hmm. I think they've just decided not to proceed for the other.
It's already long.
Yeah, but it's blighted. That was the kind of the problem there. It would have been nice to bring that up to standards.
Yeah, for sure. If they had only been focusing on the existing building, like, that would have been a great idea.
So they were going to continue, that didn't really stop their progress, but after they solved some of the issues structurally with it, it was gonna cost too much to rehab than keep it. I think they'll go in another direction, but definitely, move forward with that, keep trying for some more housing in the area. Anything else? That's all I got right now.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You guys.
Commissioners, anybody else want to comment or have anything to say? Want to bring things up, Sam? Still going?
If y'all think of any potential commissioners, please let us know.
He did have one, I told him to look in.
Bob Maroney
Oh, okay.
already sent a text to the mayor.
Very good.
Thank you.
So, no objections, we're going to adjourn. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
I
We knocked that out.
That was a lot pressure.
I feel like that was an easy one lately. It's just been so stressful with some of the